Welcome to the chaos. Today is Thursday, December 19th. I'm Jill Savage, and this is a very special edition of Blaze News Tonight. We are live from America Fest, and along with me, of course, as always, is Matthew Peterson. He's our editor-in-chief of Blaze News, and what a way to kick it off with none other than Jack Posobiec. He's a senior editor at Human Events and a best-selling author. And Jack, we were out there and seeing the doors open, everybody coming through, and you were the one here when you had your show, getting the crowd fired up. Everybody is ready to be here in Phoenix at America Fest right now.
Well, Jill, thanks so much for having me on again. Doc Peterson, always a pleasure. Folks who don't know, by the way, I am a recovering student of Dr. Peterson here from the Claremont Institute, where they very foolishly just woke up one night and Peterson was like, I just throwing darts at Twitter and decided to give me a chance at coming in the Lincoln program, and just very grateful for the way that you gave me that opportunity 5 years ago, and also stood up to all of the very foolish people who got so upset at you for thinking that we could actually perhaps have a new way forward for nationalist populist politics, and possibly might have to break a few eggs on the way there.
Yes, and I didn't throw anything at the wall. I watched you for 2 years, and I was like, we got to get this guy. You know what was funny about that is thinking back on that now, all those people who were so upset about you becoming a Lincoln Fellow and about the changes that we made and the direction we were moving, not a single one of them is doing anything right now. They're all gone.
Completely gone. They're not in the zeitgeist. I mean, if I went around here, no one would know their names, and that's really the end of it. That's really the end. But yeah, this America Fest, as it stands now, is the largest grassroots meeting of the populist nationalist movement, and you hear all the different events that are going on, the speakers, Charlie Kirk, of course, putting it together with the incredible Turning Point and Turning Point Action team, and it represents a very different, I mean, you've got like social conservatives, and you've got Tea Partiers, and you've got fiscal conservatives, but then you have like the Maha crowd and the RFK types, and you've got the what did the Wall Street Journal say? The angry veterans. Yeah, I love the angry veterans. They said.
I wonder why they're angry.
Yeah, they said Donald Trump keeps staffing his cabinet with angry GWAT veterans like Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, and I'm like, I love that moniker,
Yes.
angry veterans.
Yes.
That's perfect. And I served in as well at Guantanamo Bay, and it's angry veterans is the perfect way to tell it. You lied to all of us about the global war on terror. We signed up because we thought that we were doing the right thing for our country. I joined the intel community through Navy Intel, and I thought, hey, I want to go and I want to be in uniform and I want to serve. And then we got there and found out what was actually going on and said, whoa, you guys lied to me. And they said, well, you guys won't do anything about it. And as it turns out, we did.
What I love about this, Jill, is that Jack mentions all these different groups here and the energy of this event, and how people in the past who were complaining about a new way forward for the right aren't here anymore. But now this isn't just some small group of people, non-influential, out of power. This is the event where the people who are connected to the rising tide that is in power, right, are all congregating, and that's a very different feel than in the past.
To wit, I mean, I kind of think Mike Johnson just ended his speakership by canceling his event at this event, canceling his speech at this event, and of course that's predicated on his actions in Washington. But the fact that he pulled out of AmFest, I mean, that is sort of like, and it's like not showing up at the Olympics or something. I don't know how to put it.
Jack, when you were going through that list of the different conservative factions, I'm like, that's a list right now of everybody that's angry at Speaker Mike Johnson, right?
It really is. And by the way, I shouldn't forget. I should not leave out the Mama Bears, the Moms for Liberty, and the student boards, and the the men and women's sports. All that which is kind of part of MAHA, I feel like. But it's just there's so many different coalitions.
Yeah. But we're seeing a major blowback against the CR bill this week now, and it's so interesting because everybody wants to go out and be friends with Elon Musk and take their picture and do all the cool things, except for when it comes time to actually trying to reduce and rein in some of this stuff. Then they're like, oh, you know what? Can we save that for the 119th Congress? Let's wait for that.
It's amazing because I started my show earlier today here at America Fest, and we had this incredible crowd out, and I, I'm the kind of guy, I see something like that and I see opportunities. My eyes just start glittering. I say, oh, I have opportunities for mischief. Excellent. And so, and where I'm from in Philadelphia area, we used to call it Mischief Night. They don't call that in other parts of the country the night before Halloween. And so what I thought was, let's do an A/B test of the crowd. I said, crowd, who here thinks, and answer the question, yes or no, should Mike Johnson keep his job as speaker? The crowd roared, just roared.
It was very loud.
No. And should he step down? Yes. Should Elon Musk be speaker? Yes. I mean, it's just, unequivocal. And the idea being that it's business as usual, and you had so many people in DC, it's almost impossible for me to believe that there were folks who actually thought that it was all sort of lip service, and that you could sit around and ride on Trump Force One and go to the UFC rallies, and it's they kind of are like UFC rallies in a sense, and you do the walk-ins with Trump, and have all these opportunities. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk didn't build his companies by just sitting there and posting memes. I mean, that's the fun part, and sure, we all have fun doing that. Myself maybe a little more than most, but the essential point of it is, don't forget that email that Elon sent Parag Agrawal, who was the former CEO of Twitter, now X, when he's complaining, why are you going on X and trashing the board, why are you attacking us, why are you doing all this, it's causing all these problems, blah, 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 blah. And Elon just responds back to him, what did you accomplish today? What did you accomplish today? And the fact of the matter is that Elon is a practical guy, he's a pragmatic guy, but he's also the kind of guy who does not accept excuses.
Exactly.
He never has. And that's actually calling you to excellence. And so this Washington, D.C. narrative of, we'll get him next time, and we had to do it this way, but that'll put us in a better position for this. No. In the military, we used to have this phrase, what is the maximum effective range of an excuse? And the maximum effective range of an excuse is 0.
No, and we've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for years, trying to tell people, look, it's not going to be the same. The people don't care. And now finally that's catching up with everyone, because you have a group in power who is going to hold people accountable and not suffer fools gladly. And they're going directly to the people, right? I mean, it's instantaneous when the CR came out. Like, this is the dream for years, right? Immediately on X.
Almost sounds like you're talking about some kind of democratic interaction with our elected leaders.
Very
that could,
like a representative democracy.
Like that would not.
I can't have that. No.
The way things are.
No. What?
Very uncomfortable.
Representing the people. I mean, that's just crazy talk.
I loved it earlier today on X. Bill Ackman came out and he said, you know what? All these bills that we're putting forth, they should be footnoted, and have the person who is actually trying to add all of the pork, you have to attach your name to it, and you have to let the American people see who is adding all of the crap that we don't want. And then maybe that is a nice deterrent. Elon was like, that's a great idea. Don Jr. is like, yeah, that sounds pretty great. But it's at this point in time, Jack, that it feels like different options now are on the table. It's not just going to be business as usual. Things are changing.
Well, here's what it is. It's that, look, organizations like Claremont, like Human Events, like the Blaze, we've been talking about this stuff for years. We've been talking about it for years, absolutely. But here's the problem, is in the Republican Party, and certainly within the country, but even within the party, nobody was taking it seriously. Because the party, boys and girls, and I'm sorry if I have to, break a few hearts with this one, the party actually cares about money more than it cares about voters, or at least the original party, the old party. So the Republican Party cared a lot more about money than it cared about you. That's why it always seems like special interests got their way with these bills, because, well, they were the ones who were authoring them, which, by the way, the answer to Ackman's question is, it's not the congressmen who are writing them, it's the lobbyists, and who the lobbyists are then representing. This has been the process. So Claremont's understood that, the Blaze has understood that, Human Events has understood that, but you didn't have this level of scrutiny from some of the most powerful people, the richest people on the planet, looking at it saying, wait a minute, we said no pork. That means actually no. And so if you can't put up something clean, President Trump has the ability to do what Scott Adams calls the new CEO move. And the new CEO move is to make a big change right at the front that sets the narrative for the entire rest of their tenure. Well, now, CEO's tenure is a little bit longer than 4 years, but sometimes less. They don't do so well. So it could be, 24 hours ago, I didn't know if I would say this, or maybe even 48 hours ago now, but at that point ago, I didn't know that I'd be saying that, but I'm going to say it now. It looks like President Trump's new CEO move might be changing out the Speaker of the House.
Jack, don't go anywhere. When we come back, I know that you have an interesting tie-in. Luigi Mangione is the alleged murderer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and you have an interesting connection to your book on humans. I want to dive into that a little bit more. It's America Fest here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're at the lovely convention center. And Jack, you were mentioning earlier, this is the place where Donald Trump started everything back in 2015. It's an interesting place to be here now at this point in time, and just to see how everything has evolved since way back in 2015.
I'm sorry, I just have a little laugh because I thought you were about to say the lovely Jack Posobiec. You're like, we have the lovely. I'm like, wait, where are we going with this?
He's the lovely.
No, Jill
Jack
maybe.
Posobiec.
Matt, Doc Peterson, not so much.
Listen, I don't want Tanya to get mad at me, so we'll just say
I'm just
Jack
here to look pretty.
Yeah, you do look very pretty. You know, the skin. I love that. I love that.
Very good.
No Botox here, folks. No Botox. He doesn't put the poison in.
No.
Robert F. Kennedy's
Natural.
around. No. This is actually a historic location. This building is the first building that President Trump ever held a convention in, all the way back. I have to check the exact month, but Tyler Boyer, who is the COO for Turning Point Action, actually held that rally, introduced him, and it was basically just like it wasn't obviously the whole convention center like this with all the breakout rooms and everything that it's built into now, but yeah, this was the building.
And you were able to go through another huge turning point in Donald Trump's life was obviously July 13th.
That's right.
Right, and you wrote the book Bulletproof. You guys had that turned around so quickly, and you had so many details and so much that you were able to do so quickly. That was very impressive to see, just you getting history documented the way you did.
But somebody had to do it. We had just written the book, and doing 2 books in 1 year is I don't recommend it. Probably not a good idea. Certainly not good for your sanity, or if you ever try to sleep, unless you do have a MyPillow like we do. We sort of already we were in like book writing mode, is sort of the easiest way I can explain this, because we had just put the book of Unhumans out, and I'm in the media tour. I came on the Blaze for the media tour, and I was with you guys, and you were gracious enough to have me on, and 2 weeks into it, the assassination attempt takes place, and I said, wait a minute, should we do another chapter on this and try to do like a second version of Unhumans? And then we saw, no, this has got to be a separate book. It's just got to be a whole separate book. And as it turns out, we, myself and my co-author Joshua Lysek, who is also here, he's running around dealing with his fans, and he gets a lot of fans. He's like Ringo Starr at these events. That he actually started writing some of the chapters, and the very first chapter in Bulletproof was written. I believe President Trump hadn't even exited the hospital yet from when it had happened, because we just started writing it down. And obviously I started collecting information immediately from, I knew so many people who were there. Saurabh Sharma from American Moment, my friend Bricksuit, who, by the way, that the angel photo that appears on the spine, I don't usually say this, but the angel photo that appears on the spine, as well as the bunting, are both actual photos from Bricksuit, who was at the rally front row center. Getting his story, and just Turning Point staff and other individuals who were there that I was talking to on the first basis, just to try to get a sense of what had actually happened. And so all of that early information and all of those early interviews just turned into this book, which you see before you here. And it's really been a labor, and of course President Trump, I got a chance to show it to him, and he said, how did you do that so quickly? And I said, we just wrote, we just didn't stop writing. And that being said, for as much information as we did get in about Thomas Matthew Crooks, we actually hired a private investigator to go around in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. We uncovered the fact that there is in fact a federal grand jury that's been opened in the Western District of Pennsylvania, a fact that for some reason the New York Times or the Washington Post or CNN or any of the Pennsylvania media just weren't interested or curious enough to find out about, well, we found out about it. We broke that story, and we have that here in the book. We think they may be looking at the father or potentially other accomplices that could have been involved in that shooting. And then just as the book goes to print, someone else tries to kill President Trump, and this individual suspected, Ryan Wesley Routh, down in West Palm Beach. And so I got to actually say on the phone for once, seriously, use the phrase, stop the presses. Then I found out that, and you do a lot of publishing, so I'm sure you may know this already, I got to find out that stopping the presses is actually very expensive once you've already started printing things, because we had to pulp like 30,000 book covers, but you know, credit to Skyhorse and Tony Lyons and the team over there, they were able to do so for us, and we got a chapter in on Ryan Wesley Routh.
Let me just say a word about why this book is so important and why people should buy it, because this isn't something that's past. This needs to be memorialized, cannot be forgotten, and we still have to get to the bottom of a lot of this stuff. So the fact that you already have this artifact, this book Bulletproof, out there, that's something that everyone should purchase to remind themselves that this isn't over.
Oh, and we have we have the two books up. It's magachristmasbooks.com.
There it is. I was going to say it would be a great Christmas present, because there's so many people that still need to know about this, and they
it's
are
not
trying
political. It's a whodunit. It's a true crime whodunit.
But they're trying to get it off the headlines, right? How many people are still talking about this? And, and we're all here. We're all very excited right now at America Fest, but that is still a thing that everybody, like you're saying, needs to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, and it's not just about the future, it's about the past, because this book really comes out of on humans. And
it does.
You were mentioning Luigi. I mean,
Yes.
This is ripped out of today's headlines.
Yeah, so for a lot of folks who want to understand Luigi Maggioni, they say, how can this guy who, by all accounts, he's incredibly wealthy, his family is richer than the victim, he lived a life of luxury, he incredibly, by every true definition of the word, privileged, with the wealthy family, has an Ivy League education, which he completed, by the way. There was some reporting on that, and they said, how could he possibly have committed an act such as this? And he's all but admitted that it's him on camera in many of even his public media appearances, that he's been shouting at the police. And you have to understand, it is a pathology. And then also, of course, the wider public response on the left to support Luigi Maggioni, to cheer and applaud Luigi Maggioni. You have to understand that you are dealing with an ideology and a pathology that has existed for 150 to 200 years. It goes back to revolutionary France and the guillotines. By the way, I don't know if you heard this, but the Sisters of Copignan, the nuns who were beheaded in the French Revolution because they wouldn't revoke their vows and because they said they would stand for God, and they were led off to the guillotines. It's just been announced by the Vatican this week that they are going to be canonized finally, which of course martyrs are saints to begin with, but they will be officially recognized by the Vatican. I mean, they're chopping the heads off of nuns. It went to revolutionary Russia, it went to Spain, it went to China, so many places, and now you see this ideology in America. That's the ideology we wrote about in Unhumans, that is a communist ideology based on resentment and anger. It's not about justice, it's not about healthcare, it's not about real estate or land ownership, it's about identifying an enemy class and persecuting, injuring, and doing anything you can to kill that enemy class.
Well, also, it looks like there's also a short version where J.D. Vance says you should read this book.
Oh, yeah. And I will say, so
Donald Trump Jr.
So so J.D. Vance came out, and this is before he was picked as the vice presidential candidate. Really only as the book came out, probably about days before he was picked, but he didn't even know. And we reached out to his office. They said they'd be more than happy to. And I will tell you something, that the media raked him over the coals for supporting this book, and we never once received a single word from JD or anyone associated with JD that he wanted to pull the blurb or anything like that.
Well, Jack, JD Vance loves you. The people here, the crowd here, loves Jack Posobiec as well. Give us that website one more time where people
MAGAChristmasBooks.com. MAGAChristmasBooks.com. By the way, this airs today, right?
That does.
So, okay, I know we're a little Magic of TV folks. If you order it today, this is the last day that you can receive shipping by December 25th. But for anyone who's here, we are going to be doing a book signing tomorrow, and we've got books available over in the hall.
Jack Posobiec, thanks so much for joining us.
God bless Jill. God bless Doc Peterson. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas to you as
Merry
well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more, but this portion of the show is brought to you by right here at Blaze. If you want to go out there and show your support for Blaze, you can go to shopblazemedia.com. We have all the Blaze Heritage Collection, Blaze Media, all the Trump Vance 2024 stuff. You can get on a t-shirt, coffee mug, everything that you're going to need to make your Christmas great. Go to shopblazemedia.com and use code BLAZE10 for 10% off your entire order. That's shopblazemedia.com, promo code BLAZE10.